how to set yourself apart from other real estate agents and dominate your marketplace. My special guest today is Gary Evans from Houston, Texas. How you doing today, Gary?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing great, Craig.
We're going to talk about how he's done such a great job in the Houston, Texas marketplace. Talk about how he's effectively set himself apart from all the other realtors, which has caused just a huge influx of business. So much. Gary has so much business. He got to the point where he couldn't handle all the incoming come list me's and buyer inquiries. And now he has a team. And if you're in Houston, Texas, you're going to want to pay attention and learn. Just give Gary a call to find out how you can be part of this, maybe partner up with Gary. That is if you want to make more money and work less, which is, hey, the reason we all get into real estate.
Right.
Let's go back in time, how we first met and what has happened to your business since.
Here's how we first met. So I was in the radio. My background is radio and television advertising, mostly radio advertising here in Houston, working for the biggest operators on the planet. And so I spent 32 years at that. It's the typical story of, okay, I'm climbing the ladder of success, and all of a sudden I realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. Sometimes your life is changed in a flash in a decision that you make. And I remember where I was on the freeway, and I said, I'm going into real estate. So I got licensed up really quick, and I was kind of a secret agent. You know, I was still working my radio job, and I was starting to build the real estate company. And then I was a Remax guy like you, right? So the balloon and all that. And so I like to read. I'm a reader. So I was walking down the hall one day and asked one of the guys at Remax, hey, what are you reading today? And he goes, I'm reading this book by Dan Kennedy. It's called No BS Marketing. I went, okay, that sounds pretty good. I'll grab that. So I read through and I'm reading about Dan Kennedy and direct response marketing. And of course, I was in the marketing and advertising business, 32 years, working with big accounts, that household names. And I go, yeah, this stuff makes sense. Of course it works like this. And then I come to chapter 13 and it's Craig Proctor. And all of a sudden I read chapter 13 and I go, oh my gosh, this is absolutely the way to do it. So I made some phone calls and I did some research, talked to Shelly Salas up in Central Texas, and she's been with you for a long time, her and Louise.
Yeah,
and
like 1,000 transactions a year, those two.
Absolutely. Yeah. So basically what I did was I called, I think it was Todd's office or your office. I made them basically sign me up on the phone. I went to my first super conference with all the new people, but on the breaks, I was already running ads. I was already calling back leads on the breaks and booking appointments.
And you're saying you were at the first Craig Proctor conference and you were running the ads I was giving you while the conference was still on?
Yeah, I was already a coaching member, but I wanted to see it from the very beginning so I would understand how the whole process works. So I went and said, let's go to the super conference. I brought my assistant at that time. She came along. After that, we come back, we start building, we start using the Craig Proctor system. We start generating leads. I was doing a handful of transactions at that time with mostly friends and family, and I could see that's not going to last forever. So how do we do this?
Sometimes the family and friends are the hardest transactions.
Yeah. So
what they're looking for is a favor, and favors usually don't pay well.
So you taught me how to do business with strangers. And that year, the following year, half the business that we did came from people that we had never met before. And I knew this was the way to do real estate. And so we've just built on it. And during the pandemic, when a lot of agents were sitting on the sidelines or didn't know what to do, we grew our business 50%. We started adding team members in 2019. Last year was our best year ever. And I spent 5 months out of the 12 months in a cast or an immobilizer on my right leg, couldn't drive, couldn't walk, couldn't do anything, and kept the business going from basically my bed and a computer. And the reason I was able to do that is because of your system and what you have taught us how to do.